So in our previous lesson, I had talked about the Samaritan, and we saw the arsenal that was behind it. Who are these people who are teaming up in order to make sure that the Samaritan prospered, you know? And I promised that the next session we'll look at now Meamosi. What is he going to do about it? Will he be able to thwart the innovation? But before I say anything, I would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is On Your Marks. If you just search On Your Marks, you'll see a lot of content, and you can listen to it. If you're a student, Form 3 or Form 4, we have a variety of perspectives on essay writing and Paper 3 as a whole. I know you will appreciate some of our work and you will grow with them. Here is a few pages of Meamosi. We have compiled Meamosi, following him from the beginning to the end of the text. And we have highlighted some of the things that he does, his actions. We have not qualified what kind of actions, but what does he do? What reason does he have for doing them? How does it affect others? How does it affect him? How does it haunt him? You know. Then I also have a learning resource here, the crossword based on John Lara's The Samaritan. It can do you a lot of good. It can awaken your spirit of reading The Samaritan again. Remember, at On Your Marks, we want you to read The Samaritan as many times as you can. And it is as simple as you clicking on the link that I have left down there, so that you can access a PDF format of this crossword, and then you can attempt it. Go to a cyber, go to a bookshop and have it printed out and learn with pleasure. Enjoy kusoma Fathers of Nations ama The Samaritan at your convenience. The answers to this crossword I will not give you. You'll have to look for them on your own by reading The Samaritan again and again. If you're a serious student, then stay with us and we will give you more perspectives to those set books. You can download these on the link that is down there, copy it in your books, get back to The Samaritan, find out which other parts have I left out. Are the details that I've given sufficient? Would you like to add more? You know, active reading. It is for your own good. Act 1, Scene 1, Meamosi. He is invited to preside over the launch of the Samaritan app and award Alvita and Montano, but he fails to. That is the criminal thing he does in Act 1, Scene 1, the first thing he does. Reason being, he fears that if the app thrives, his corruption will be exposed. The app has looked so dangerous in his eyes. How will it affect others? If he stops the launch of the Samaritan, then he will deny people freedom of expression. The app is supposed to expose the bad things that are happening in Maracas municipality. It will also affect Alvita and Montano because they get fearful of him. Remember, in the next scenes, we see that Alvita and Montano have run to Teacher Nicole to tell her to drop the Samaritan app altogether because it has become too big for them and they're scared her life could be in danger. She has rubbed shoulders with the municipal administration. How will it affect Meamosi? He has to lie to the public that he did award the boy and the girl and defend his selfish decision of stopping the launch. Remember when he tells Harvester to hold as many press conferences as he can, and in all of them he has to deny refusing to award Alvita and Montano, deny refusing to launch the app. In Act 1, Scene 1, again, he tries to force Teacher Nicole and Principal Narine to stop the national launch of the Samaritan app. The reason being, he fears if the app is left to thrive, his corruption will be exposed, like we saw earlier. Then again, Alvita and Montano are fearful of him. The principal and Teacher Nicole are threatened as well. Then it affects him because he gets resistance from the teacher and he feels disrespected by that same teacher, that is Teacher Nicole. When we get to Scene 2, Act 1, he orders Harvester to purchase all the day's newspapers using municipal funds. Reason being, he wants to serve the interests of fellow corrupt Maracas leaders by hiding their corruption. How does it affect others? How does it affect others? there will be misappropriation of funds as well as denial of right to information to the public. The misuse of funds is exposed later in the newspapers a week later, where he is accused of abuse of office. That is how it affects him. Scene 2 again, Act 1. He allows Ted and Seima to supply air after billing the municipal council huge sums of money monthly. Reason being, he has no way of controlling these leaders under him. He is corrupt. How does it affect others? Municipal funds are embezzled. And how does it affect him? Ted, Seima, those leaders that were under him are exposed by the Samaritan and the papers. Wakishakuwa exposed like that, hata yeye ako kwa mix because he is the overall leader. Next, he convenes a meeting to ruin the Samaritan app so that his allies and he can get away scot-free despite involving themselves in corruption. Your meeting yote, the impromptu meeting, that the crisis meeting that he convenes, that is also an element of corruption. Why do they do that? Why does he do that? To save himself and the others from exposure. Ameona inakuja sana hiyo Samaritan, sasa anataka kujisave. How will it affect the others? People will be denied the right to information. Kama Samaritan is thwarted, watu hawana right to information, watu hawana right ama freedom of expression, because that was a platform where the public was supposed to run to and expose how misappropriately municipal resources are being used so that to curtail some of that corruption. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? The leaders disagree during that meeting. Wana disagree, alafu those who go on the other side, those who don't support him, vow to remove him from office. There's an impending impeachment of the mayor, courtesy of the three leaders who go their separate way. Then, still in Scene 2, Act 1, he orders Harvester to write a letter banning the use of the Samaritan and another instructing an ICT officer to mess the app, to hack into the app. Reason being, he wants to save himself and the others from exposure by the Samaritan app. How does it affect others? Harvester is rounded up. Kwa the app, Harvester is accused of abuse of office for following his orders. How does it affect the mayor directly? The letters find their way into the Samaritan, where he is accused of abuse of office, as Mayor Mosi. Then let's get to Scene 3. He is accused of municipal capture in the Samaritan. Reason? What is municipal capture? That will help us get to the reason that his personal interest has gotten in the way of public policy. Anataka kuserve his personal interest, hataki kuserve the public interest. How does it affect others? Of course, people are denied good leadership. Ukikuwa na leader ambaye anaserve interest zake, inamaanisha mnakosa uongozi mwema. Then, how does it affect Mayor Mosi? He is exposed in the Samaritan. In fact, he learns of that word municipal capture for the first time from the Samaritan, and Harvester has to come to his aid and explain what it is to him. Still in Scene 3, Act 1, he orders Harvester to arrange press conferences to counter all allegations against him and others in the media. What is the reason behind that? To give the impression that the municipal council is running normally. How does it affect others? The public will be misled by the deception. Wanataka kudanganya watu ati everything is okay, but nothing is really all right. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? It is a count of abuse of office. Hiyo municipal capture ambayo tumezungumzia, that is still it. When we get to page 2, bado tuko kwa Scene 2, what does he do? He chairs the meeting that resolved to disrupt his ouster motion using gang violence. He's the one who is chairing that meeting. Ameleta his dependable allies. That is Harvester and Bembe. Reason? To avert the vote of no confidence in him. Ambayo kina Ted, Seima and Ramdae wameweka pamoja so that they are going to mobilize members of the council and aldermen so that they can vote, they can pass a vote of no confidence in him. How does it affect others? He will create fear and insecurity. if that goes on, that plan yao ikienda, he's going to create fear and insecurity at the headquarters. Alafu pia ana misappropriate funds because the gangs are funded by the municipality. Pesa inatoka kwa harvester ambaye anatoka kwa municipal fund. Again, it affects him because that is another count of abuse of office. It paints him a corrupt leader. Next, he attempts to have Nicole edit or filter some of the information coming out about them in the Samaritan to secure an understanding with teacher Nicole. Reason for doing that, he wants to escape exposure by the Samaritan. How does it affect others? The public will be denied their right to information if that happens. Then it creates a misunderstanding with Nicole. Remember, Nicole is a very strong-willed person. Is a strong-willed person now. Going against her, if you are rubbing shoulders with her, then uko na changamoto kweli kweli. How does it affect him? He is frustrated by a determined Nicole. He cannot be helped because the app is no longer in her hands. So that frustration of having to pull and push with teacher Nicole is already punishment for this bad leader. Scene 3 bado, Act 1. The meeting he chairs resolves to dig up damaging information on his rivals to post in the Samaritan. Wanakaa chini, wa post damaging information, wa dig information ya watu wengine alafu wa post kwa the Samaritan. That is so wrong. The reason for this is to revenge on Basdeo for exposing them in the app. Remember, as soon as they left Sagrada Secondary School during that day of the launch, Basdeo paid journalists to go and dig information on them, and he dug a lot of information to last a month. Ndio wameanza tu, so ni damaging information after damaging information in the daily newspapers every day, and the source of that damaging information is the Samaritan. Again, to make Jaden comply to their demands, Jaden naye watamblackmail, watadig information yake so that he can give in to their demands. Wakati wenye watakuja, we will see later how he will be blackmailed. How it affects others? Apo Jaden will be blackmailed, but they will be exposed. Then how will it affect him? It is a count of corruption and abuse of office. Leaders should not behave like that. Act 2, Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 1, hakuna meamosi because hapo kuna wale watoto wana express fear. A part of it we have already mentioned by the fact that he refuses to launch the Samaritan app, alafu anaanza kuwa na push and pull with Sagrada Secondary, particularly teacher Nicole. So Act 2, Scene 2, he attempts to bribe Nicole to take care of the Samaritan for him. Anataka ampatie pesa, alafu mambo ya Samaritan iishe. But that will not work. The reason for this is that he wants to save himself from exposure by the app. How is it going to affect others? Teacher Nicole is disappointed in him as a leader. Teacher Nicole is very disappointed, totally disappointed kwamba huyo leader anaweza kuja kwake kutaka kumhonga. How will it affect him? He is embarrassed, number one, because teacher Nicole turns down that offer of bribe, and she threatens to even post that offer in the Samaritan app. You can imagine the embarrassment he gets. Still in Scene 2, Act 2, he presides over shoddy municipal works by his deputy. Deputy wake ambaye anaitwa Ramdae. Reason being, hawezi kureprimand Ramdae because he is a close political ally. How will it affect others? The shoddy jobs leads to poor secondary roads in the municipality. Then his deputy is allowed to embezzle public funds. Anafyonza pesa za umma, alafu na hakuna kitu anajenga. Barabara bado ziko vibaya. He sounds ridiculous. That is how it affects him. Unaona venye anajitetea kwa teacher Nicole, anajaribu kublame the people, you know, that is ridiculous. He sounds ridiculous for being unable to stop the deputy and blaming people of Maracas for voting for him overwhelmingly. It's so ridiculous. He's cornered actually. Next, he has allowed his deputy to occupy another office that he uses to ensure only his companies and relatives win construction tenders. Reason for the action? He cannot reprimand him kwa sababu yeye ni ally. They have been allies. Hajakuwa akimreprimand, ni mtu wake. How does it affect others? The public is denied tender opportunities. Tenders are supposed to go out to the public, not to office bearers. Then the deputy practices nepotism. Ana ubaguzi. Watu wake tu ndio wanapata kunufaika na mambo ya the municipality ama ya ofisi yake, that second office. He sounds ridiculous again for being unable to stop the deputy and blaming people of Maracas for voting for him overwhelmingly. Next, so he's aware his deputy is a con man but does nothing about it. Reason being, he cannot reprimand an ally, a political ally, mtu ambaye amekuanga mtu wake. Wame split tu juzi, so he has not been able to reprimand him. How does it affect others? He has conned very many people with fake title deeds. In fact, there's nobody he has not conned. That's what the text says. Again, he sounds ridiculous for being unable to stop the deputy and blaming people of Maracas for voting for him overwhelmingly. Scene 2, Act 2 bado. He watched as Ted ate a whole hospital. He cannot reprimand him because they are allies. Oh, they have been allies. They have just fallen out the other day. How does it affect others? In place of health centers, mahali penye watu wangenufaika na health centers, some site offices that look like cow sheds were built. Sasa watu hawana health centers, wako tu na maofisi zenye zinakaa kama cow sheds. How does it affect him as the mayor? He regrets funding Ted's campaign and is unable to control Ted. Mtu mwenye umesaidia tu afike uongozini na uwezi hata mcontrol. That can be frustrating. Next, he watches as Seima ruins lives of many with drugs. When we come to Seima, it must always be drugs. He cannot reprimand him because they have been close political allies. They have just fallen out the other day. How does it affect others? Maracas is now a key location for narcotics trafficking. Watu wameijua sana because of that. A bad thing. It's bad reputation. Many lives have been ruined by his drugs. If you see any child who's not going to school, a child who has been ruined by drugs, all those are victims of Seima's drug trafficking. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? Teacher Nicole anamwambia you have abdicated your duty. He has abdicated his duty by not having Seima prosecuted in court. Ulanguzi wa madawa ya kulevya ni a criminal offense. He should have had Seima prosecuted in a court of law. Next, he watches as Seima's Department of Planning and Development takes bribes to approve buildings without proper inspection. Same reason, he cannot reprimand a close political ally. How does it affect others? Maracas, no. He puts lives at risk. No. Being that Maracas is in the most seismically active area. Unaona, kukikuwa tuna earthquake, Maracas kuisha. Because buildings zita collapse vibaya sana, they are substandard. Their construction was not well done. And then extorts people because the inspectorate unit under him is rotten to the core. You must part with some dollars for you to have a building plan approved. Then he has abdicated his duty by not having Seima prosecuted in a court of law. That is how he himself suffers. Again in scene 2, act 2, he is very much aware that Seima is dangerous and the man behind the murderer's Black Swan gang, but does nothing about it. He cannot reprimand him since they have been allies and he's afraid of him. Anambia Teacher Nicole, shh, that's a dangerous man. Pia anamuogopa. How it affects others is that there is insecurity in Maracas and there are disappearances. The Black Swan is to blame for the disappearances in town. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? He is afraid of Seima. Anaogopa mtu ambaye yeye ndiye ana lead, and then he has abdicated his duty. Next, he calls members of the municipal council names. Unasikia huyu ni sloth. He resembles as sloth, mwingine ni bat. Next, the reason for that is to defame them around Teacher Nicole and exonerate himself. Anataka kujitoa ndani ya shida, alafu awache hapo kwa shida. In fact, anataka kwa blame wale, so that Teacher Nicole aone kwamba yeye ni mzuri. He renders Ramdae, Ted and Seima disgraceful. Teacher Nicole ana agree kwamba yenyewe those people are disgraceful. They are such a disgrace. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? He is revealed as contemptuous and abusive. Imagine a mayor ambaye ako na matusi kweli kweli. Badala ya kufanya kazi anatusi watu. It's not good. A leader should never be abusive. Next, he blames people of Maracas for the poor leadership they have. He wants to exonerate himself. That is the reason. Anataka ati ajione, watu waone yeye ni mzuri na watu ndio wabaya. How does it affect people of Maracas? He allows corrupt leaders keep stealing from the municipality and still stay above the law. Unaona? Anaambiwa convict hawa kina Seima, kina Ramdae. Hawezi. Kwa nini? It is the fault of the people. Why did they vote them in? But Teacher Nicole anaambia we didn't vote anyone to go and steal, you know. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? He sells hopelessness, thinking that leaders of Maracas are naturally evil. He cannot change them. Unaona hiyo ni hopelessness. Hawezi wazuia. Next, he says his mistakes are natural and excusable and that he eats very little. Unaona kiongozi ambaye anakula mali ya umma lakini anasema ati yake yenye amekula tu ni kidogo. Wale wengine ndio wabaya kwa sababu hao ndio wanakula kubwa. No, that is not the way to go. Reason being, he wants to distance himself from the criminals who eat what belongs to the people. Who eat a lot of what belongs to the people. How does it affect others? He eats bread meant for the people of Maracas. Anakula mali ya umma. You're eating bread. Bread is supposed to be metaphorical in that context. How does he suffer? He paints himself irresponsible, selfish and corrupt. Next, he blames the teaching profession for the presence of people creating the mess in the society. Reason for the action? He thinks Nicole is being used to destroy his career. How does it affect others? He undermines the role of teachers in molding character among learners. How is it going to affect him, or how does it affect him? He is frustrated learning from Nicole what technology and innovation can achieve among learners. Then lastly, in that scene, he threatens Nicole, ordering her to delete any posts that cast him in the negative light in the Samaritan. Reason being, he believes that the Samaritan is a political weapon against him. How does it affect others? It affects Nicole because Nicole has to jump and freeze in fear because anaanza kumthreaten hapo na hapo. How does it affect him? That is Mayor Mosi. How is he affected by his own deed? He fails in his mission to secure an understanding with Nicole and then resorts to threats. We are just about to finish. Act 2, Scene 3. He averts his Oster motion by making the municipal headquarters inaccessible using violence. Tushazungumzia, but initially it was a plan. The reason, bado ni to make it impossible for Ted, Seima and Ramdae to mobilize councillors against him, to pass a vote of no confidence in him. How does it affect others? Hooligans brutally attack the meeting intending to have him hosted. Watu walikimbia kweli kweli hiyo siku. Everybody who was in the vicinity of the municipal headquarters had to run for their lives. How does this paint him? Or how does it affect him? Those people regroup intending to hold a massive political rally soon. Wanaita hadi basdeo ili wasaidiane so that waangushe Mayor Mosi kweli kweli. Tuko Act 3, Scene 3. Mawili tu kwa Mayor Mosi. He plans to cause more violence to stop the Archibald Stadium massive rally by his opponents. Reason? To stop the rally by making the place inaccessible. Itakuwa na violence, so watu wataenda hapo. Then how is it going to affect others? People in the stadium will be treated to violence and terror. People will be terrorized. There will be a lot of violence. How will it affect him? Or how does it affect him already? He cannot help the fact that the Anti-Corruption Bureau might soon move to Maracas. Mara kazi imekuwa na fraka mingi sana hadi sasa Anti-Corruption Bureau wanakuja. Then Act 3, Scene 3 bado. In the same act, that is Act 3, Scene 3, he teams up with Bembe to blackmail the principal judge. Why? He wants to have him arrest Ramdai and group, then convict them to stall the massive rally at Attobold. How does it affect others? Jaden is forced to agree to the plan that deceives the masses. How does this leave Mayor Mosi? The blackmail shows he is corrupt and he is eventually arrested. Act 4, Scene 1. He instructs lawyers acting for the municipal council to file cases against Ramdai and team. Reason? He wants to forestall the vote of no confidence in him at Attobold Stadium. How is that going to affect others? He puts Jaden on the spot. How is he affected himself? It is an act of corruption. And it even leads to their arrest. Act 4, Scene 2. He sits in the meeting that plans to bribe Nicole with a job offer. Reason? He wants to ensnare, to trap Nicole into siding with them concerning the Samaritan, so that that crisis ya Samaritan iwaondoke kabisa. How does it affect others? They are all misled. Wanadanganyana wote because Nicole is not going to accept the bribe. How is Mayor Mosi affected? It is another case of corruption, and indeed it will lead to his arrest. Then lastly, he leads the delegation that offers Teacher Nicole a bribe in the name of a job offer. Reason for the action? To trap Teacher Nicole into siding with them concerning the Samaritan, like I've already said in the previous point. How is it going to affect others? An extra office is supposed to be created, but this will burden the masses. And also, they meddle in school affairs. Wako shuleni, mali kuna watoto, na wameenda kusumbua Teacher Nicole kule. How does it affect Mayor Mosi? He is arrested by the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau alongside other leaders on numerous counts of corruption. Thank you very much, guys, for listening in on what the counts, on what Mayor Mosi has done in the Samaritan. If you have any additions, feel free to add. If you have any details that you think are important na tumeacha nje, please fill them in. The idea is for you uzoe the Samaritan kabisa, so that you know if you are following Mayor Mosi, you can follow him throughout the text. If you're following Inspector Bembe, you should be able to follow him throughout the text. What does he do? For what reason? How does it affect him? How does it affect the others? That way, you'll grow your understanding of the Samaritan. And at the end of the day, if you have a better understanding of the Samaritan, you put yourself in a better position to write the best essays come KCSE 2026 or KCSE 2027. Remember, 844 is exam oriented. A bad grade is going to haunt you in your career. I've been your host, Teacher Simiyu LV. Feel free to call me. My number is there on the pamphlet. Download the notes I've just given on the link that I have provided, and you'll thank me later. Go to a cyber, go to a bookshop, print those things. Fanya kazi yako vizuri, maliza mtihani wako vizuri, so that ukienda college kujibamba kule, you already worked at Form 4.